Mr. Investor, welcome back to the channel, baby. Today we're going to be talking about Bionano Genomics. Oh my goodness, our beloved. Straight up, Bionano Genomics has taken a battering. It's gone down, from an all-time high of $15.69 down 63% to where we are today. Have I sold a single share? No. In fact, I took this opportunity to average down because my average was roughly about $10–11. I don't have much cash on hand, but when I get my next stack, I'm going to be averaging down as this continues to come down in price. So today, let's discuss a few things. Let's talk about a few things I spotted in ACMG. This lady is an interesting individual. I also had a conversation with Mr. Joe Butler, our nano nozzle knight. I just wanted some confirmation with regards to leukemia and optical genome mapping. We're also going to be talking about a post on StockTwits and how Bionano Genomics has given this guy peace of mind. Joseph Butler is also talking about some very interesting things. Then we'll tie into Biden, C19 and all the funding coming through and where that leaves us in all of it. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. My name is Miguel. We've been covering Bionano Genomics for a long while now, from a $2 stock all the way up to the pity pop to the top, and we've watched it slowly come down. I still see so much long-term potential in this company, and it doesn't worry me because I can wait. I'm willing to wait 5 to 8 years for this to kick in full swing. I hope you find this video valuable and entertaining, and if you're able to support my channel, please click the join button above my head. It's only 99 cents. But if you're unable to join channel memberships, just you hitting the like and clicking subscribe means the world to me. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. Now let's get into all of these juicy topics. And also remember, none of this is financial advice, it's for entertainment only. So first of all, let's talk about this interesting character. This is Ariana Tucci. She's MD, PhD, and she works for Genomics England. So with Genomics England, they're actually working on this major study.
We then went on to apply the pipeline to the 100,000 Genomes project. As I said before, this is a large whole genome sequencing data set together with clinical data of patients that had a rare disease which was molecularly undiagnosed.
So I wanted to look into the project and what they've been working on, and also what kind of instruments they use. So as she said, they are working on rare disease genomics, and this is for the 100,000 Genomes project. And as I found her on LinkedIn, I scrolled down and I could see here that she actually works within Queen Mary's University. You guys may have remembered when I spotted this a few months back, but there's actually jobs been popping up at all of the key research universities across England. One of these jobs was for a genomics technician, and this was at Queen Mary's University of London, exactly where she works. If you look into the overview here, you'll see that they're looking for a genomic technician that can work within, and the role will primarily be concerned with running a Promethean nanopore ultra high throughput sequencer, which is Oxford Nanopore Technologies, and Sapphire optical genome mapper Bionano, and this is to run a service for internal and external users. As they stated, this is an exciting opportunity for someone with the right skills and knowledge to support cutting edge research. So I spotted this about a month ago, probably in March, and they closed this job now. Within Queen Mary's University of London Genomics facility, you can see Bionano Sapphire genome mapping system is there, the Sapphire. They also use some other instruments as well in their genomic testing. So if Genomics England is currently working on this 100,000 genomes project, they were focusing predominantly on sequencing the 100,000 genomes from about 85,000 NHS patients that are affected by rare disease or cancer. When you're talking particularly about rare diseases, they said although rare diseases are individually very uncommon, because there are between 5,000 and 8,000 of them, a surprisingly large number of people are affected in total. So that's 3 million people in the UK, or 6 or 7% of the UK's population. If she's running this out of Queen Mary's University, and within their facility they have the Bionano Sapphire for optical genome mapping, these guys are getting major funding to actually run some of these tests. What's the likelihood of them running research in future with Bionano Sapphire? And at Queen Mary's University, they also have expertise in working with lots of different ranges of tissue types from diverse organisms, even from trees, insects to bacteria and mammals. So this morning, Joe Butler was talking about what you see here is the first optical genome mapping images produced by King's College NHS. These guys are part of the Russell Group universities, and it's massive. They've literally got some of the best research in the world. You can see here they're stated to be one of the UK's largest NHS foundation trusts, and they treat about 1.5 million patients per year across 5 sites in southeast London and Kent. So these guys have actually been running studies on leukemia, and I wanted to ask Joe a question. I said to Joe, thank you Joe, do you think OGM will get written into the guidelines for the NHS for leukemia diagnosis and screening? And I I also wanted to ask him about prenatal, so I said also with regards to prenatal screening across the UK and Europe. Optical genome mapping, I want to see, is it going to be written into the guidelines? And Joe's response to this was, since the genetic reconfiguration, there is an NHS genetic test directory. If clinicians and doctors see to use a technique and validate it to prove it works, then I think it's a fair prediction. The current guidelines even say things like karyotyping or equivalent. And then he also shared these links. One link was talking about Bionano genome imaging concordance with traditional cytogenetics in landmark leukemia study, saying that it can identify all clinically reported variants detected by karyotyping, CNV microarray and FISH combined in 48 leukemia genomes. Now the next link he shared stated that, thought leaders in the US are recommending for Bionano Sapphire to replace karyotyping as first line test for detection and identification of structural and copy number variants in leukemia patients. So they think it's going to replace karyotyping. Also, with regards to funding, I wanted to show you guys here that Queen Mary's University, Russell Group universities alone undertake around 23,000 research projects with businesses and others, and collaborative research projects worth over £1 billion a year, nearly twice as much as the rest of the sector combined. And this is how key and beneficial the research is. For every £1 of public research funding they secure, the Russell Group universities deliver an average return of £9 to the UK economy and produce 68% of the UK's world-leading research, worth an estimated £34 billion a year to our economy. So I think both there's going to be a lot of government funding going into research, and it's going to cause a lot of adoption of the Sapphire for research purposes, especially within that Russell University group. And if Joe Butler is talking about it being, a possibility that within the NHS it will be written into the guidelines and it will replace karyotyping, as you can see here, if doctors see it fit for purpose, they validate and prove that it works. The current guidelines even say stuff like karyotyping. If this happens, then it's going to be a first line tool for diagnosis for leukemia patients. Now over on StockTwits, we can see here Mike J Trades. This was very interesting indeed, so thank you very much, Mike, for sharing this with us. So Bionano Genomics gave us answers. For 20 years my family has wondered if my mom's ataxia, which means severe balance issues. Quick Google search shows that ataxia is a term for a group of disorders that affect coordination, balance and speech. So for 20 years his family has wondered if his mom's ataxia, severe balance issues are genetic in origin. He said, will I get it? If I had a kid, would they get it? What about her other grandchildren? I paid to have my blood and my mother's ran and compared. Praxis Genomics used Bionano Genomics optical mapping and Illumina sequencing to figure out no genetic link. Now I can try to have a kid without the worry of a 50-50 chance my offspring will acquire this issue. Priceless peace of mind. I like that, bro. So this shows a real life use case to actually look at genetic predisposition and to see if this disease here, this ataxia disease, will affect his future offspring. So thank you very much for sharing this with us. And I wonder as well how many other people are out there with, diseases, comorbidities and disorders in their family in which they may think there is a genetic link, and where Bionano Genomics can give them that priceless peace of mind. Optical genome mapping is a magical thing. Walt the Whale. Walt, what did you share today? He shared something that Joe Butler actually came out with this morning. This is very interesting. He said that he's rather flattered today. He was speaking to a consultant, clinical hematologist, who called Bionano Genomics the holy grail we have been waiting for. More to follow soon. And Chris said, oh dang it, man. Sure you tell me now, a day after I sold 300,000 BNGO shares. Thanks, Joe. Oh, Chris. And Joe replied, well, you know what Buffett said? Buy stock like you own it forever. In future, people won't use karyotyping, microarray and FISH probes to get data. They will just use Bionano to get better data, faster and cheaper. But you knew all this. Thumbs up. Mr. G Goodman said, look, it's coming through and serving the good stuff. Thanks, Joe. Let me get some of that whiskey, baby. Mo Stonks was in there and saying, does BNGO have offices in the UK too? And Sulfur said, looking forward to reading when Sapphire is in every NHS hospital. Me too, brothers. Likes all round. Me too. Then we had some concern from Andrew C saying, Joe, can you confirm the nano nozzle is even a real thing? It's like a fairy tale. I heard about it all the time, but it never comes up in PRs, webinars, earnings reports, etc. And Walter said, Joe Butler is a gentleman. And gentlemen never talk about their nozzle. Yes. What is wrong with you, Bionano investor? Jesus, dude, enough of the pump. Shareholders are getting killed. Well, I just read back to this comment, buy stock like you own it forever. When Buffett said that, he says, buy good businesses and treat that stock like it's farmland. Buy it and let it grow. The next thing I wanted to show you was this came out 5 hours ago. It was about the White House talking about C19 variants, and they want to inject $1.7 billion. They want to boost it into genomic sequencing. And while everybody everybody's saying, oh, it's sequencing, it's not optical mapping. Could we possibly get a little chunk of this? Could they possibly invest in some sapphires as well? Because of this, we ran, according to CNN Business, Bionano Genomics back in March 31st, 2020. Bionano Genomics was supporting the largest study to date on the C19 disease susceptibility. So the study will control for viral strain differences and for the known risk factors of age and chronic illness such as heart disease, diabetes, and other immune compromising diseases. We are aiming to identify genomic variants and novel active substances that influence resistance or sensitivity to the SARS-CoV-2 virus, or C19. This is with regards to disease progression and drug response. So do we think we're gonna get some of that Biden money? I've actually heard that the infection rates are actually at an all-time high across the world, and I think this is where I saw it. I saw it on Yahoo News, and they were talking about World Health Organization chief talking about C19 infection rate approaching the highest of the pandemic so far. So they're going to be pumping some cash into here. I wonder how much we're going to get and if we will be used alongside genomic sequencing companies. Some keywords in here: the White House on Friday announced plans to help states detect and curb the spread of the emerging C19 variants by investing $1.7 billion into genomic sequencing, or the process to map the genetic code of a virus. And during January, during this C19 host genome structural variant consortium, they were able to identify structural variants with possible roles in pathogenesis and outcomes in severely ill C19 patients using Bionano Genomics Sapphire system. So the study found the optical genome mapping OGM with Bionano Sapphire system identified structural variants that affect the genes in pathways that control immune and inflammatory response, viral reproduction, and mucosal function. So we may very well see some adoption of Sapphire in research labs in the US if they're going to be able to get, some cash money from genome sequencing and optical mapping the virus out. In terms of institutional ownership, we had 69, because you guys hear me screaming 69 every video. Now we have 70. It's a slow burner, but as we see our revenues increase, will we see more institutional ownership coming in play? They're here to make money. They need to see sales. They need to see more sales of consumables and instruments and the running of our services. And if we take a look at the UK, for example, let's look at diagnosis and personalized medicine. The NHS England Genomics Medicine Service have stated we will be the first national healthcare system in the world to offer whole genome sequencing as part of routine care and delivering on our promise to sequence 500,000 whole genomes. They want to do also personalized medicine to make sure that they have effective provision of effective therapies so that patients will get the treatments and advice that will work for them, including tailoring drug treatment programs. Just wanted to remind you here of some of the articles we've seen on whole genome sequencing, and this GeekWire article that states that actually, as a metric, 75% of structural variants that are present in that person's genome are missed by whole genome sequencing, but captured by our long-read phased genome assembly. And seeing here, since the Human Genome Project first completed its first draft of reference genome, and it was stating commercial whole genome sequencing, or WGS, often misses out on crucial variations that can make all the difference when it comes to an individual's health. And I found this Nature article that was published on the 7th of April 2021 very recently. It was talking about the structure, function, and evolution of a complete human chromosome. These guys were from the University of Washington School of Medicine, and they did indeed use Bionano Genomics to validate the assembly with their optical mapping system. And when I was speaking to the guys at the Full Bull podcast, I remember them saying, random sentences but without the proper structure don't really make sense. You have to assemble it in the right way, and the best way to assemble it and figure that out is by optical genome mapping. So these guys also deliver very interesting talks on Bionano Genomics. You guys should also check these guys out. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much for watching. If you're able to support my channel, any donations you want to give me, please join my Patreon group or click join above my head. It's only 99 cents. It's my channel memberships. But if you're unable to join channel memberships or the Patreon, just you hitting like and clicking subscribe means the world to me. Thank you so much for joining the family. Always remember, none of this is financial advice. Drop me some comments below on stuff that I found today. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you found any other juicy information. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much for watching. Mr. Invest a Lot, over and out, baby.